Hey, this is a video for 8.1, Sources of Pollution. So go ahead and check out the overview and set up your guided notes. So when we're talking about pollution, we really want to consider the source. If you can identify the specific source, then it is a point source. If you cannot identify the specific source, then it is non-point source. So right now I'll give you some examples of point source. So effluent, this is the outflowing of any liquid from a manufacturing facility, whether it's a industrial facility or a sewage treatment plant. But effluent, since I can point to that pipe, it's a point source. An oil spill. If I see the location where the oil is leaking from the tanker or from the pipe, and I can identify where it originated, it is considered a point source. Combustion of fossil fuels. I'm seeing a smokestack in the air releasing particulate matter. I'm seeing some smoke coming out. Because I can point to it and identify the source, it is a point source pollution. Lawn fertilizer. If I am applying fertilizer to my individual lawn and it runs off, I can pinpoint where it originated from, so that would be considered point source. A CAFO manure lagoon. Since this manure lagoon is tied specifically to one feedlot, I can consider that point source because if it leaks, I can tell where the leakage came from. And the last example is landfill, like methane that is being released from a landfill, or leachate that is leaking from the bottom of a landfill. Since it came from one particular location, I would consider that a point source. Now, a non-point, recall, is when I cannot pinpoint the source. Now, an example here would be agricultural runoff. Now, if I'm applying fertilizer to this one field, great, then it would be point source. But this was taken near my hometown, where there is field after field after field after field. So if I went to my local river and I were taking some water quality tests, and I noticed there were high amounts of nitrates, high levels of turbidity, and I don't know exactly which field it came from, it would be considered non-point. If I looked out into the ocean and I saw a bunch of plastic, which we have a lot of plastic in the ocean, I don't know where that specific plastic came from, it is considered non-point. Acid precipitation. Recall that some of the areas in the Midwest are contributing a lot of sulfur dioxide and nitrogen oxides to the atmosphere, and those are moving downwind and causing acid precipitation along the Great Lakes. But because we cannot pinpoint exactly which factory it came from, it is considered non-point source. The sewage overflow. Basically, in New York City, our sewage system is very old. It's kind of outdated, but it's really expensive to fix. So anytime we get a rain event, anything that can't be handled by the wastewater treatment plants just runs off into the East River. I don't know where that came from, whether it's, feces or storm drain trash. So that is non-point. Sunscreen. There's chemicals in sunscreen that are toxic to fish and coral reefs. If I'm spraying the sunscreen on myself, then it would be point source. But if I'm analyzing the coral reef and I'm wondering why it's being killed from all these chemicals in the water, it would be like a general area, but it would be a non-point source. And finally, these urban storm drains. They're related to the sewage overflow, at least in New York they are. But because what goes in these drains will end up in the water, probably eventually, I don't know where it originated from. It is considered non-point. Now, when we're writing FRQs, we really want to be careful to differentiate between the word pollutant and pollution. So don't just say water pollution. Be more specific. So think about a cause, think about an impact. So for example, if I had sewage effluent or the outflow of liquid from a sewage treatment plant, well, that could be nitrate and phosphate nutrients. And that could lead to biodiversity loss by way of eutrophication. Remember, eutrophication is the entry of nutrients into a waterway, causing an algal bloom. When the algae die, They use up all the oxygen, leading to hypoxia and thus biodiversity loss. So that is the cause would be the pollutant would be these nutrients, and the impact would be biodiversity loss. Now, if I had coliform bacteria are the bacteria that live in our guts, and they indicate that there is feces in the water. So if you have coliform bacteria, it can lead to gastrointestinal issues like diarrhea and vomiting. So the pollutant would be the bacteria, and it is in the sewage effluent. What I would like you to do is respond to this check for understanding. And our FRQ practice is to describe a non-point source of pollutants that can result in eutrophication. I hope that this video was informative. I thank you for your attention, and I will see you soon.